Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session in cause number 331-351. Case of style, State of Texas versus David Alexander Oseguera Borjas. Mr. Borjas was previously sworn in. Mr. Borjas entered a plea of guilty to the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault family violence. Mr. Borjas acknowledged that his signatures and initials was on State's Exhibit No. 1 of misdemeanor plea admonishment. He also acknowledged that his signature was on the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. And he also acknowledged that his signature was on the discovery certification. He also acknowledged that his attorney, Mr. Mel Shalander, went over this document with him. He read and understood everything in this document. And everything in this document is true and correct to the best of his knowledge. Attorney Mel Shalander waived the record in this case. Mr. Borjas acknowledged that he was not a U.S. citizen. He was a citizen of Honduras. I think he's a resident of the United States. I have before me a document that is titled "For All Foreign Nationals Except Those from Mandatory Notification Countries." And Mr. Borjas, you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled signature?
Yes, sir.
And the last statement on here said, was asked, do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time? And there's a circle on no. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, also in State's Exhibit number 1, there is a paragraph that's titled citizenship. It's at the bottom of paragraph number 1. And it states, if you are not a U.S. citizen and plead guilty, or no contendere may result in deportation, exclusion from admission, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And do you still want to go forward with your plea?
If that doesn't affect for me to be able to fix my status of whatever I need to do.
Well, I mean, I can't give you any legal advice. Your attorney can discuss that matter with you. And okay, now, do you still want to go forward with your plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
You did? Okay. Now,
Can I put something on the record just for myself?
yes,
David, we explained to you that that doesn't say that you're automatically going to have problems, but you could have problems. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but your alternative is you're going to not go forward with this plea, have a trial, potentially have more jail time, perhaps have jail time with the probation revocation and or the DWI, and you're choosing to take this deal, take your chances with the immigration people to reduce your potential exposure to jail time. Is that correct?
okay. Now, Mr. Shalander, you have advised Mr. Oseguera Borjas the consequences of pleading guilty, no contest to this charge, and according to I guess the requirements of Verdeer versus Kentucky, where you told your client about the consequences of him pleading guilty or no contest in this case.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state officer stage 1.
No objection.
Okay. And just for the okay, no record, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted. And just for the record, could you have your client initial below the paragraph that's titled citizenship, acknowledging that the court did admonish him of the consequences? Okay, now, Mr. Chairlander, you've advised and counseled Mr. Othagara Borjas. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None to my knowledge, Judge.
And Mr. Borjas, or Othagara Borjas, your attorney, Mr. Chairlander, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Borjas, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 15 days, Your Honor. Defendant has agreed to start serving that sentence today at or before 6 p.m., Your Honor. And this case is to run concurrent with cause numbers 327-860 and 333-021.
And what's the other one?
It's 333-021.
333-021.
Yes, sir.
021. Now, let me ask you something. You said this case is running concurrent with those two cases?
Yes, sir.
I thought the 327-860 was being dismissed.
It is, it really doesn't need to run concurrent with that one.
Okay, I do it on the.
That was, I think it was
Okay,
put
so
on
we're
there
gonna-
before we.
You're gonna take that off? Okay. Okay, now, Mr. Othagara Borjas, the state is offering that you serve 15 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you've already served in jail on this case. The court cost in this case is $292. Will you be able to pay the $292 court cost?
Yes, sir.
This case will run concurrent with clause number 333-021. And your jail time is to begin at or before 6 p.m. today. Okay, so you'll have to turn yourself at or before 6 p.m. today, turn yourself into the jail. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Mr. Borjas, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Borjas, follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Borjas, pursuant to the Texas Administrative Code, could you get us to your client, Mr. Pursuant to the Texas Administrative Code, section 176.1, the court hereby admonish you or warns you of the following. Number one, you are by entry or order of judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code, section 46.013, firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. And Mr. Osagara Barjas, that is your copy, and you can keep that copy for yourself. Now, Mr. Osagara Barjas, we will move on to your next case. And your next case, Mr. Osagara Barjas, is cause number 333021. And in that case, Mr. Osagara Barjas, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about April 17th of 2022, while you in Jefferson County, Texas, operated in a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Brohouse, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Brohouse, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, and no contest?
No.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Osagara Brohouse, I also have before me, this is the wrong box, this check. It's not a DWI second. Yeah, this it's a Class A, so you'd have to just check the Class A box. You could erase that. Okay, thank you. Mr. Rojas, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Rojas, this is a DWI enhanced, which is a drive while intoxicated with alcohol concentration level 0.15 or more. And the range of punishment for this offense, if you're convicted, since it's a Class A misdemeanor, is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, or fine not to exceed $4,000, or both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Page 2 of this document, let me do this here. Now, on page 2 of this document, or page 1 of this document, rather, they still have that same paragraph that talks about citizenship. And it states if you're not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty or continuing may result in deportation or exclusion from admission or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand that? And we're going to have your attorney to pass this to you so you can acknowledge that. That last Okay, now, Mr. Brohoff, as I was saying, I have before me.
I'm sure it's also more when you're done, Judge.
Okay, you have to just stand back there, yeah. Okay, and now, Mr. Brohoff, I have before me, Stacy Zimmerman, one of the misdemeanor plea admonishments, acknowledge that you recognize this document, is that correct? And are these are your initials below the paragraph that's titled citizenship, right? And this paragraph reads, if you are not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty or no contingent may result in deportation, exclusion from admission to this country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And do you still want to go forward with your plea? I also have before me a document that is titled for all foreign nationals, except those from mandatory notification countries. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled signature?
Yes, it is.
And there's a circle around the word no. And the question is, do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time? And there's a circle around no. And did you circle this document? It says no. Okay. Now, also on State's Exhibit number 1, there are a set of initials on the line that's titled guilty. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir. They are.
And on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, it is.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? And are these, well, there are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? I also have a document here that's titled discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, it is.
Now, Mr. Borjas, prior to signing and initiating all these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer states.
Any objections? No objections, States?
State would also offer state exhibit number 2, probable cause affidavit.
Okay, you have any objections to State's Exhibit number 2 being offered?
I would plead guilty.
Right,
Yeah.
but, just for evidential
Okay.
purposes.
No objection, State's Exhibit number 2 will be offered, and the court will take judicial notice of State's Exhibit number 2, which is in the court's file. Mr. Shirlani, you advised and counsel Mr. Rojas, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None to my knowledge.
And Mr. Brohoff, your attorney, Mr. Shalander, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brohoff, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defense plea of guilty in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 365 days, Your Honor, 1 year. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at this time and instead place defendant on community supervision for a period of 15 months. Your Honor, require defendant to pay a $1,200 fine to complete 60 hours of community service, to also serve 3 days jail as a condition. Your Honor, the defendant will surrender himself today at or before 6 p.m. And we're asking that the standard DWI probation conditions include interlock device, a repeat offenders class, Your Honor, and I think that's all the conditions.
Run concurrent.
Excuse me, thank you, and to run concurrent with cause number 331351.
Okay. Mr. Brohoff, the state is offering that you serve 365 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you will be placed on probation. Well, this 365 days will be probated for 15 months. During the 15-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,200 plus court costs of $417, which comes to a total of $1,617. You'll also be required to pay a pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DW education class and initial evaluation fee of $125. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. You'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You will attend and complete a DWI education class. You will attend and complete a repeat offenders class. You will install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you will serve 72 hours in the Jefferson County Jail beginning today. I have to put that date on there. Beginning today at or before 6 p.m. The 72 hours in jail is as a condition. Okay, this jail time is just a condition of your probation. Now, hold on a minute. You stated 3 days in jail. She has 72 hours on the judgment. So I think you may have to change that to 3 days in jail. This, I think the 72 hours requirement is like a what is it called? DWI second, and it's a day per day. I mean, hour for hour, but on the 3 days, because the statute is a class A misdemeanor, 0 days to 365 days. It's not 72 hours to 180. So I think it used to be 3 days, and so the 3 days is a condition of his probation. Now, you will also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation, and this probation will run concurrent.
The jail run concurrent, jail time.
Yeah, the jail time. See, that's not on. Yeah, the 3 days is running concurrent with the 15 days that he had in the other case.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's
Is it not the same thing if the cases run concurrent?
nah. I mean, he's on probation for one. I mean, normally, they could run concurrent. It could be saying the same thing, because it's just that you trying to say you don't want him to do an extra 3 days. You want the 3 days to run concurrent with the 15.
Right.
Right. I guess we just put the 3 days served in the Jefferson County Jail to run concurrent with cause number, whatever, with cause number 331351.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bullhorse, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bullhorse, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Brohoff, this will conclude your case. You're going to have a seat. She's going to have to make the necessary change on this document to reflect that your 3 days is running concurrent with your 15 days. And that jail time is to start today at or before 6 p.m. All right?
Where do I need to go?
To the Jefferson County Correctional Facility, the place, yeah, to the Jefferson County Jail. All right, just have a seat. And this will conclude the calling of the court's dockets and court has a motion to revoke the probation docket and an announcement docket on today's date of January 6th of 2023 at 9 a.m. in County Court Number 2. Judge Terrence Holmes presiding.